They always say art imitates life. But what happens when life bites back? And it bites back hard. We're going to get into how a rapper's own lyrics basically wrote a script for a real-world tragedy, one that brought an entire era on Chicago's most notorious block to a dead stop. So it all kicked off with one single, violent moment. A single death. But this wasn't just about one person's life ending. Nope. This was the first domino in a long, long line. And it was about to bring an empire crashing down. All right, so let's start at the beginning, the catalyst, the event that sparked this whole fire, the death of a huge, rising star in the drill scene. So, the story really kicks into gear with the death of Chicago rapper King Von. He died from a gunshot wound. And man, that one moment, it was like a line was drawn right down the middle of the street. It split up crews, it tested loyalties, and it basically set the stage for all-out war. Okay, so you've got two sides in this conflict. Let's lay them out. On one side, you've got King Von's crew, right? From Oblock. And they're backed by the powerhouse Lil Durk and his OTF, or Only the Family label. Then, on the other side, you've got Quando Rondo's crew. And the person they say was the shooter? Lil Timmy. So you can see this wasn't just some random street fight. This was a head-on collision between two very established groups. But here's where it gets kinda wild. This wasn't your typical beef. The crazy part is, the blueprint for what was supposed to happen next, King Von basically laid it all out himself, in his own songs. He pretty much wrote the script for his own revenge from beyond the grave. Now, to really understand where this is all going, you've got to know the lingo. So let me ask you, in this world, what does it actually mean to slide? So sliding, it's street slang for getting revenge. Plain and simple. It's all about retaliation, and yeah, it almost always means violence is coming. This isn't just some word they throw around. It's a whole code, a way of life. And get this, that quote right there, that's a line from one of King Von's own tracks. He basically left his crew instructions after his death. He's saying, when I die, you better slide for me. He literally wove the expectation of revenge right into his music. So with that expectation just hanging in the air, put there by Von himself, a response was, allegedly, set in motion. Let's break down how that attempted revenge actually went down. So, according to the source material, it was Lil Durk, Von's close friend and the big boss at OTF, who stepped up to organize things. He's the one who supposedly took it upon himself to make good on that promise, to slide. All right, so here's how the plan supposedly worked. Step 1, Lil Durk sends 3 guys from his OTF crew. Step 2, their main target, the other rapper, Quando Rondo. But here's step 3, and this is where everything falls apart. The plan goes south. They miss their target, and instead, they end up killing his brother, a guy they called Lil Pup. A move like that, especially one that goes wrong, it's never going to end well. The consequences were immediate. They were severe, and man, the fallout from this was about to change the entire game. So let's just be real clear about it. The whole mission, it was a total failure. They didn't get their guy. And to make things even worse, right after, the guy who allegedly planned the whole thing, Lil Durk, he gets arrested. So think about that. Not only did the revenge plan completely backfire, but now the leader is gone. The king is off the chessboard. And that brings us to the end of the story. And honestly, it's maybe the most surprising part of the whole thing, because the source talks about this deep fundamental change in the feel of the streets after all this went down. This one quote from our source just says it all, It is not feeling like the old street anymore. It gone quiet. It just went quiet. You get this real sense that something important, something essential, was just broken. So here's the bottom line. This whole vicious cycle, right, from Von's death to the messed up revenge attempt to Durk's arrest, you'd think it would just lead to more war, right? But it didn't. Instead, it seems like it just put a freeze on everything, a chilling effect. The streets went quiet in a way they never had before. It's like the whole engine of retaliation just seized up. So that's where we're left, with this whole chain of death and destruction, all of it driven by a code where violence was the only answer. But after all that bloodshed, all the arrests, and then just silence. It really makes you think, doesn't it? If violence is always the answer, what was the question we should have been asking in the first place?